So this is just going to be a very quick update on the fuel tanks. They're basically all ready to be welded up and then cleaned and painted and so on. But I'm not going to do that right away. I'm moving on to some other stuff. So going to put this video out now. So this one is just mocked up. That's the new top. I've cut the hole for the sender. The plate is bolted in, waiting to be welded. I've cut the holes for the filler and the vent pipe, and again those are waiting to be welded, and the top is waiting to be welded in. I've cut the nitrile gasket for the adapter plate and temporarily bolted in the threaded plate that takes that top plate, and threaded the top plate to take the sender. And then the last little job was to make this in-tank filter, and this was something I just kind of made up as I went along over a couple of evenings and days, and I'm afraid I didn't really do any video of this. So it's a couple of I think they were the Lotus suspension washers, although they were thinner than the Lotus ones, so they might just have been a couple of thick body repair penny washers, whatever you want to call them. So this is a little bit of 1/4 inch BSP pipe stub that was welded into this bottom plate. I cut a section of steel tube I had and notched it and reduced its diameter down to the same as the washer. I was originally going to use the actual unreduced size of pipe to clamp or to seal the filter material on. The bottom one, the cup is facing down. The top one, the cup is also facing down, so that I don't end up with a pool of fuel sitting on the top. There's an inner tube in there which you can see is notched out, so that's basically spacing the top and bottom apart. It's notched out to allow fuel in. And I remembered having played around with the stainless steel mesh for a while and wasn't really 100% happy with the way it was working. I remembered I had some bronze mesh for another project, so went and got that, and the advantage with that was I could solder the seam and solder it on to make up the filter, and then that's been sitting in some isopropyl alcohol, removing all the flux. So that's all ready to get screwed into the bottom of this tank through the access hole. I welded the top of a cap head screw in there so that I can use an Allen key to tighten it. Not that it needs to be any particularly tight, but you don't want it simply unscrewing and falling off inside the tank. So that's pretty much all done. You know, as I say, waiting for the final welding assembly and cleaning, and also some mounting tabs for the tank to suspend the tank rather than having it sitting on foam. But this is a little job that escalated. Having removed the cross beam, discovering corroded or broken off bolts which had to be removed, and also some issues with the plywood bulkhead material. I'm just assessing my how I want to tackle that, how far I want to go whilst the car's apart. I've got general ideas about how I want to do the tank mounting. One of the places I want to mount it to is to share some of the mounting screws for the rear crossbeam. This is the crossbeam that I took out because I noticed that some of the bolts were missing, and it turned out that they were corroded off or broken off in captive threads. So those came out without too much difficulty with some heat. and that all needs cleaning up and painting, and I might add some brackets on to match up with the tabs, or they may quite happily share with the mounting bolts, and some of the holes like that one, not specifically that one, but holes like that one at the other end were damaged when screws were drilled out. So got to do a minor repair there and just work out exactly how I want to tackle it. You can see there's also a bracket there and a bracket there, and the same at the other end, and they're what supported the upper cosmetic covers that went in under the window, formed a shelf under the window. Now I've cut the bodywork back, I need the longer version, and I'll probably end up just making something from scratch, and that probably will be in a heavier plywood so that it's actually a shelf that could bear some weight if it needed to. So not doing any more work just here at the moment, because I don't want to sort of build myself into a corner and then have to undo work. So that's where all the tank stuff will stay just for the moment, and I'm moving on to engine adapter plates.